Yo, looks like we're live. You are live, it says. And today we're going to discuss most irritating things. I have some things that have been mounting up and I want to share, and this is an opportunity for you to share as well. Behaviors by people that are disappointing, and I guess going from disappointing to super irritating to actually making me angry. Are you ready? Each one has, there's something to it. So I'll get started, and I'd love to have you share your most irritating things in the comments. Going from less irritating to more irritating. Number 5, when people lay on the horn. Say I'm walking down the street in my little town, and somebody feels it necessary to go, really, so inconsiderate, forgetting everyone walking down the street on both sides and the motorists around. And really all you need to go is beep, beep, or just do nothing. A little deep, deep if the person's spacing out at the light and is not going or something. But this, if you do that, you have a problem. You have an anger issue, and you got to learn to just chill. It's not helping anyone, and it makes you look like an ass. Makes you look like an a-hole. So don't do it. Man, I can't stand that. By the way, don't you like this cool wool top I got here? Oh, I'm so glad it's fall. Get to wear this stuff. So don't lean on the horn. I can't stand that. It is wildly irritating. Number 2, and this is something that's really not the fault of the people doing it, but it's the fault of the system, and that is when I simply order something and the person takes the order and that's all they do, and it asks you, how much do you want to tip? 15, 20, 25%? I hate that. And I just have to man up now, and you have to man or woman up and not leave a tip for that. Don't be intimidated by that. You could even say something. If everyone said, it's irritating that this tip thing pops up here. Now, I know if you're ordering something that's going to make in the kitchen, you might be afraid, hey, if I don't leave a tip, they'll spit in it. Or if I order something from somebody, if you can't see them all the time and you don't leave a tip, I'm afraid they might do something to it. Put a booger in it, spit in it, or something worse. So I'm completely irritated every time I simply, can I get one of those? Yeah, thanks. Put it in a bag. Tip? Really? No. And then, of course, there's just for the takeout. If you order takeout and just pick it up, I'm happy to tip, but I don't want to be told to tip. That's not how it works. That's the irritating part. Don't tell me to tip. And that's what you're doing. You're shaming me into tipping. I want to tip because I want to be a good guy, not because I want to be shamed if I don't. It sucks, and society should push back on it. It should, enough of that. That's thing number 4. Being shamed into tipping, not tipping because you want to, and being shamed into tipping by the machine that you use to pay. And I hope we do not normalize that. It really became a thing during the pandemic. Okay, I get it. Pandemic's over. Next. Something that enrages me, and it makes me think, just people suck. People are so inconsiderate. And some of you do this. When I take out boxes, I take out the trash, right? You take out the trash, the kind of trash that goes in the dumpster, and then there's the other kind that goes into recycling. And if you're going to, if there's recycling out there, I'll do it. I don't know how much good it does. It's better to just not use it, not buy stuff you don't need. And it's better to reuse if you can. A lot of times you don't need to get a box or a plastic bag. Just don't get anything. Do you need a bag for that? No, thanks. I don't. I have my backpack. Anyway, number 3 thing that gets me is when people don't break down their boxes when they put them in recycling. It's so inconsiderate. It's so lame. It's so lazy. It's so ignorant. There are a finite number of containers to put your recycling in. And they fill up. They fill up really quickly, even if people break down their boxes. But when you don't, when you put say you have one of those bins, how big are they? It's, it's like the trash things with the top. And if you don't break down your box, you put maybe 1 or 2 big boxes and then you fill it up, you suck. You're inconsiderate. If you live out in Dakota and there's no one out around you for 5 miles and you want to have a trashy ass looking yard and your neighbors don't care, okay. But if you live where there are people, not way out in Dakota, if you live where there are people and people have to get along in close quarters and there are systems and there are setups that allow people to do that, including the recycling bins, you got to play ball and you got to be a little considerate. I hate when people don't break down their boxes before putting into recycling. But as much as I despise that, this next one just sends steam out of my ears. I got a couple of comments here. Dizzy says they hit the horn. This is back when people who lay on the horn unnecessarily. So they hit the horn 1 microsecond after the light goes green, and then they're 25 cars back. Not even F1 is that fast at the light. Right. Not even drag racers at New England Dragway. I agree on peeve number 2. I don't tip at Dunkin' Donuts. Right. Next. And this one is unbelievable. You ever been on a trail? Say Blue Hills. Somewhere in the White Mountains. Although the people up there seem to be a lot better about it. But around here especially. I went on a hike with my colleague Lisa Traxler on the Minuteman Trail once. And I go to Blue Hills. And when I see the following, I just want to catch the person and I want to give them an earful. I cannot stand, I become livid when people have a dog. I love dogs, love them, love dogs. Like more than most, more than you probably. Love them, have them. I've had 4 at once. But when I see a poop bag, when someone's dog does their business, and they use a poop bag, and they just leave the poop bag on the trail. They take biodegradable poop and put it in a non-biodegradable bag and leave it there. So it stays there forever until somebody picks it up. What is going through your mind? What is your major malfunction, you POS? Why would you do that? You're outdoors, beautiful outdoors. You go there because it's pristine nature, yet you leave a filled poop bag on the side of the trail. You hang it on a bush, I also saw that on the southwest, southeast, whatever it is, corridor that is above the orange line over in the south end. Somebody hangs a poop bag on a fence. You're an awful person if you do that. There's something wrong with you. You're an inconsiderate turd. Wow, I'm off the deep end this time. When people leave filled poop bags in nature, it's even worse. And when I see it happen 2 or 3 times down the trail, what's going on in these people's head? What are you thinking? Well, how can you justify that? Let me see. I will take this dog poop, which I could have just kicked into the woods or taken a stick and thrown it in the woods, and that would be fine because it would biodegrade. No, instead, I'm going to be a selfish, inconsiderate boor, just an awful person, and I'm going to put it in an ugly little bag and leave it on the side of the trail. What is wrong with you? I don't think I could ever hang out. If I find out that you do that, I'm not hanging around with you. You don't exist to me. Next. And this goes beyond irritating, and this is a public safety issue. This is the number one problem for me, the number one most irritating thing people do. By the way, Dizzy says, in the Fells paths, some a-hole would fling the bag into the trees. Right. What kind of misanthrope are you? If you want to throw the poop itself in the trees, fine. What kind of misanthrope are you when you throw the bag into the trees? Who brought you up? What's wrong with you? Jeez. Now, here we go. Number one, most irritating thing, and a public safety issue, and it happens in my town of Brookline a lot. And I hope they do something about it. I hope there's some enforcement on this. That's the misuse of bike lanes and sidewalks. Misuse of bike lanes and sidewalks by motor scooters mostly, but bicycles too. We'll address the motorcycle thing first. I don't know if you see it, but I see it all the time, especially near where I live, Gateway East. People come, that's where you come into, on Route 9, into Brookline and into Boston. There are a lot of motor scooters out there these days. Motor scooters, gasoline-powered motor scooters, that use bike lanes. Not only do they use bike lanes, they use them going the wrong way. But the thing that really burns me, and you should do something about it and speak up if it happens where you live. Motor scooters use bike lanes to blow through red lights. First of all, they should be fined for using the bike lane altogether. It's not a bike, is it? It's a motorized vehicle and belongs in the street with the other motorized vehicles. When a motor scooter uses a bike lane, it endangers other cyclists and pedestrians, especially when they go in the wrong way, and especially when they blow through lights. Also, I'll see motor scooters be in traffic, then go into the bike lane so they can blow through the light, and then they'll get back into traffic. Either way, it's dangerous, and it's you're just being a dick when you doing it. Not only can the cyclist get hit by a car coming through the intersection the other way, but if a vehicle is turning right and they're blowing through the light, vehicle turning, you might have you might have the ability to turn right at that intersection after a stop, or maybe the right turn has a right turn arrow. Maybe that's green. If this bike's blown through the light, you could hit that bike. And then the poor motorist is on the hook for hitting that motor scooter. I shouldn't say bike, I should say motor scooter. So that is a thing. And I'm considering joining town government, actually, in the actual board of people that's in charge of that stuff, to put a stop to this. How would you put a stop to it? Well, you have to enforce. How do you do that? You can't enforce because you can't enforce with police, because there are not enough police persons now. And there needs to be automated enforcement. Every vehicle needs a registration, including bicycles, by the way, sorry to tell you, but especially the motor scooters. And automatically, you blow through a red light and you get a ticket. And if you don't pay your ticket, you get your license, you get your registration taken away. And that's when the police would, act, when they would see a vehicle like that with no registration. It's really dangerous, and it goes the whole gamut from being dangerous to annoying and rude. Next, we get to bikes. And increasingly, yesterday, there's a sense that bicycles are free from any sort of rules or decency even. I was on a trail in the Blue Hills, and some complete tool, some real arrogant SOB comes blasting like I'm a mountain biker and I'm going as fast as I can right through people without saying anything, just very dangerously blast through. Not, excuse me, or I'm on your left or something. Like looking angry that we're also on the trail. I said, what the bleep, dude? But really, I wanted to do a lot more and say a lot more. But no. I almost feel like I want to, you know how people have dash cams? I want a head cam. I want a picture of everything that happens. If I had a picture of that guy, you could post it. By the way, that's going to be an upcoming topic. Is it okay to take pictures of people in public, especially when they're misbehaving? Yes, according to Massachusetts law, it is. I looked it up. You do not have an expectation of privacy in a public place. So back to the most irritating thing. Next is bicycles on sidewalks. The pedestrians are getting thrown under the bus and under the bicycle. So many resources are poured into bike lanes. What about the pedestrian? So many resources are pumped into bike lanes. Use them. If you're riding a bike on the sidewalk and there's a bike lane there, you're a jerk. You are just a jerk. And we need to get back to the it takes a village situation where everybody's not petrified to say anything to anybody. If someone is a jerk and out of line, other people need to speak up. Hey, get off the sidewalk with your bike. That's contributing to a sort of backlash against bicycles. There really is a backlash in this town. Parking spaces and travel lanes are getting taken up, and bike lanes don't get used that much. And I guess there's a hope that everyone will switch to bicycles, but it gets cold here. It gets snowy, and you can't. But if the bike lanes are there, you had better use them. And finally, a little fine point on this. This town of Brookline spent a lot of money on, in some intersections, at least the ones near me, actual red lights for bicycles. And they get ignored. Why put them up if you're not going to enforce? Why did you put them up? How much did you spend on that? Okay, the money's spent. Bikes should stop at a red light when the cycle is proper for them to stop, for everybody's safety. And it's just so disappointing to see you have the automobile lanes and then the bike lane to see and to stand there and watch, and I watch it every day to see the cars stop at the red light, and you see the bicycle lane red light. It's a specific red light for the bicycle lane with a little bicycle symbol, red, bright red, and people just blow through it. How much money got wasted on that? Well, I'm glad they're up there, but I want to see it enforced. There's got to be a way. There's not a lot of traffic enforcement these days. The actual ticketing is down, wildly down. Actually, I don't want to have to remember the numbers, but it's about 80% less ticketing going on than 2013. From 2013 to 2023, about 80%, as I remember it. I believe that in 2023, in my town, there were 68 tickets written a day, and now there are only 8. And that is largely in part to the fact that there aren't enough police because recruitment is a problem. And the staffing is, and the police are understaffed, and they don't have time to do that. I get it. That's why we need automatic ticketing. There you go. That's my number one. My number one burn is when I see a motor scooter, a motorized vehicle using a bike lane to blow through red lights. Got to do something about it. Dizzy, dizzy, dizzy. Have you ever noticed most of the food delivery motor scooters wear full masks so they can't be identified? Yes, I have noticed that, absolutely. And you'd have to have your phone right out. You would never have time to open it up. You'd have to have your phone open and your camera ready, which I'm going to start doing every time I walk through there. And take a picture. Now, the person's not going to get identified because they wear a mask to hide their identity. That's true. Or they wear the full head helmet, like I guess they're supposed to. But need to be able to get that registration. If you can catch them with the photo, with the light red, and they're going through in a bike lane, in a red light, and you catch the registration, I mean, those things have registration, right? Whoa, where'd I go here? I don't know what happened. Oh, you know what happens? I should go now. Those are my top 5. My camera's all out of whack. Bye-bye now.